Hello, Wes. Such a pleasure to talk to you.
You too.
Congratulations for the film. I really loved it. It's
Ah, that's good.
amazing.
That's good.
I was watching it and I was wondering, there is this sentence in the film that some of the characters says, apes shouldn't fight with apes. Apes shouldn't kill apes.
Sure.
I was just wondering how much for you it was like the metaphor of what is going right now in the society, like how we are divided and how people only within one nation can actually fight with each other.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, the thing about these movies and all good sci-fi really is that it holds up a mirror to ourselves, and it somehow resonates with today's issues. Now we don't overtly put that in the movie to deliver a message to people, but I do think it will resonate with people where we kind of see something that feels familiar, But yeah, you're right. That's there to be interpreted for sure.
And the question of ecology, the question of the climate change, there is this, like a lot of amazing landscapes in which we can see the buildings that right now are over fight with nature, and nature seems to dominate on it. It's very beautiful, but I was also wondering how much it is rooted in the ongoing discussion about the climate.
Yeah, it's a big part of it, right? I mean, it is a haunting kind of presence in the movie, right? It's beautiful to look at. It's places that you want to go and like explore, but it is a reminder of what human beings did to the planet, their mistakes they made. You know what I mean? And even the storyline in the movie, which might go past a lot of people. There's a certain location in the movie that you see buildings out in sea, and so it's really about the idea that climate change happened in this world and sea levels actually rose. We obviously didn't build a city in the ocean, and so that plays into a big key factor in the third act of the movie that water and the elements kind of wash away what remains of our world.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like how much of the things are built, especially for the film, how much of them are made with the computers and how much of them were just find as exact locations?
Yeah, I mean, that is the magic trick. We spend a lot of time trying to make this stuff look real, and sometimes that means going out to real locations, and then sometimes that means it's 100% CG. So I would say about 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes of the movie is 100% CG. So every blade of grass, every leaf, every tree bark, in addition to all the apes, is CG. So, and I hope, I'm very proud of that stuff, because I hope people won't recognize it as being such, that they'll just think it's real, that we actually shot it, because we try to restrain ourselves with the camera moves, and we try to not make it feel like a cartoon, But I also couple that with, we shoot in real locations, and we shoot with real horses. But even in those scenes, where you'll have, I'll have a real horse, in one shot. The next shot, it's a CG horse. It just works out that way sometimes. So we work really hard to try to keep that illusion going in the movie and make sure people kind of just feel like they get swept away on this world that they buy, they believe is real. So hopefully it works for audiences. We worked really hard at that.
I love the scene when Noah finds the children book and he sees the apes in the zoo, that they are trapped, and he is like confronted with that. I was also wondering like how much for you it was important to make this film as a film that will somehow be the voice in the discussion about the animals' rights. Did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean that's also a thing starting from the '68 version, right? That is an element of these movies where we flop the roles, where suddenly apes are putting humans in cages. You know what I mean? So yeah, that is another one of those things where it's baked into the cake on these movies, and what they attempt to do. Again, we're not trying to be too overt about it. We want people to have a good time in the theater, but it is there for people to hopefully ingest. You know what I mean?
And was it a challenge for you to find your own voice in the series that actually, as you said, it's the first part of the new series is the remake of the previous film. The previous films were made by the different directors. So was it hard for you to find like your own voice in this series and find a place for you especially?
Probably not. Honestly, I don't know what my voice is, but I know I have it. I kind of tend to follow my instincts and my gut, and I get these images in my head, that I spend most of my time trying to figure out how to leverage all these really talented artists around me to convey somehow, So the vision thing was not really an issue. The challenge really was just how do you follow up just the quality level that was set by the previous movies, you know what I mean? Just what they did was it was so freaking well done. And that was a challenge, I think, But again, I was surrounded by such talented people, all the way from from the production crew all the way to visual effects and my editorial, crew. It's like just really great people that are the best at what they do, and they really committed to it and devoted themselves to giving an audience hopefully what they expect, which is hopefully a great movie,
And very often when I talk to the directors who make sci-fi or fantasy cinema, they are very often pretty scared that actually the technology is the part of our life that changes so rapidly that actually like 3 years, and usually when you work for the films like for 3 years, the technology can change completely. I was wondering, what were your thoughts? Were you afraid that like because of the expansion of AI and etc., the things that you think that you have as a great achievement when the film is released may be something considered old?
Yeah, I actually don't think about it, to be honest. There's certainly an element of when you portray technology in the movie that you worry about that stuff, but the actual, say the imagery or the technology we use to create these images, I don't worry about it because, I look at something like Jurassic Park, 1993. That stuff still works. And it works, we have way better rendering, we have way better rigging and texturing and all this kind of stuff, but that stuff still works because the story works, because the characters work, and the shots work, you know what I mean? And so we spend a lot of time more on that stuff, where it's like, pretty pixels and all their fancy toys doesn't mean anything if we can't shoot it in a way that you buy, that feels real. And so to me, that's a big part of just what we do, where we just try to, it's the approach we take that makes the stuff, hopefully stand out, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think about that so much, but there's always, with each movie, there's always some new toy or some new technology that we're using. We certainly got to leverage it on this movie. We got to take a lot of the technology that was developed for Avatar: Way of Water and put it into this movie in a way that kind of, that wasn't possible in a couple of years ago, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so that's going to be exciting for people to see, I think, for the first time, so.
Actually, I was thinking about Titanic when I was watching some scenes in the water.
Yeah, and that is incredibly talented stuff. I mean, some of that stuff, which I don't want to give it away, of course, yet, but I think a lot of the geeks, the VFX geeks out there, are going to have their minds blown because, that's 100% CG, and it's freaking wild, and that hasn't really been done before. You know what I mean? So that's cool. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Wes, and congratulations for the film.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks, man.